Have you ever obeyed God and wondered if it really even mattered? You chose right. You stayed faithful. You walked away from what was comfortable, but you still couldn't see what God was doing. That is the story of Ruth. And Ruth 4 shows us something powerful. God can turn hidden faithfulness into visible legacy. Let's do a quick recap before we jump in. And Ruth 1, Ruth lost everything that was familiar. She chose God over idols, covenant over comfort, calling over culture. In chapter 2, she worked in the fields. She didn't chase favor, she simply stayed faithful. And God positioned her in Boaz's field, the best field to be in. Then in chapter 3, she stepped out in faith. She trusted God enough to move. Now we see what God was building all along. Boaz goes to the city gate. This was the legal center of town in Bible days. Business was handled here, witnesses gathered here, and decisions were made there. He calls the closer relative, and that man wants the land until he learns it includes responsibility. He was very willing to receive the field, but not so willing to receive the woman that came with the field. He wanted blessing without burden. And if we're honest, many people still want that today. Maybe some of us do. They want favor without sacrifice, reward without obedience, promise without the process. But Boaz was different. He stepped in willingly. He accepted the cost, the commitment, the responsibility. That's why Boaz is such a wonderful and beautiful picture of Christ. Jesus did not redeem us reluctantly. He stepped in willingly. He chose us, knowing what it would cost him. Ruth gives birth to Obed. This child becomes restoration for Naomi. The woman who said, "Call me bitter," now holds blessing in her arms. God did not forget Naomi in her grief. He redeemed her story too. Obed becomes the father of Jesse. Jesse becomes the father of David. And generations later, Jesus comes through this line. Think about that. Ruth thought she was helping Naomi survive. God was writing her into salvation history. Maybe this is maybe this is where some of us are. You're doing small acts of obedience, quiet faithfulness, things nobody's applauding. But what if your prayers are shaping legacy? Your obedience is blessing future generations. Your hidden season is something holy. Ruth never saw chapter 4 when she was crying in chapter 1, but God did. So if you're in the chapter 1 season right now, don't quit, because God has already written your chapter 4 season. If this Ruth series has blessed you, please let me know in the comments what chapter spoke to you the most. What would you like to hear next?